is up, Internet, and welcome to another episode of Underrated and Overrated. Joined again by my beautiful friends, and we're going to be talking about... We're going back again to fighting games because we had such a positive response from our friends in the FGC and around, the clout. We need more of it, but no. So joining me again, as always, Mr. Meza.
Hello.
Always so excited. Plural. And my boy
Rob Zhang.
Yes, Rob Zhang is body double. No, how will you dress you today?
Alex.
Okay, cool. So let me pull out the list. We're gonna go through the rules of engagement are very simple, just like we always do. We're just gonna go down the line, rating subjects today, fighting games. So I'm gonna list off some fighting games that we did not get to on episode 1, and these gentlemen here will tell me if they are underrated, overrated, secretly garbage, or perfectly placed. So, starting with you, Meza. First, we will begin with King of Fighters 13.
It's underrated.
Underrated. Perfect.
Yeah, there's no other answer.
Chef's kiss answer. Keep going.
I mean, what do you want me to say? It's like one of the best games ever made, and it just didn't really stay alive long enough. I mean, more people should be playing it. That's just really how I feel.
Perfect.
More people should be playing it. It's a great game. It has my favorite characters. It has most people's favorite characters from the KOF series. Mm-hmm. There's probably no better version of a game that looks, sounds good, and plays the best.
Concise answer. The correct one. Thank you. No, I agree. Definitely super underrated. Mostly in the sense of, I feel like more people should be playing it. I was kind of sad it didn't last longer, though it did have a pretty solid life cycle for as long as it did last. But in general, for the game that has everything that I like, aesthetically, the technical ceiling, personally, my fond memories of it, it's a game that I just wish, and now it's just reduced to like meme status, where like Kizzy K and Jay Wong are just like trials galore. Exactly, it's just being trial poured out. But I mean, as long as it gets some shine, I really don't care. But yeah, the game is underrated as. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's super underrated. As both of you guys said, like the roster is like actually really fantastic. There's a lot of versatility in your cast of characters you can choose, and like the execution ceiling is like really probably, and the floor really for that game is pretty daunting. Which is probably, I assume, why a lot of people are scared to try King of Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
When you see like such a beautiful game like 13, it's like, oh, I want to try it, and then you look at the trials, and they're like, I can't do any of these trials. Mm-hmm. People are just like, I don't want to do this game. Yeah. But the game is fantastic. You just got to put the effort in.
Yeah.
As we said, I think it's underrated. I literally think it's probably one of the prettiest hand-drawn games. Everyone says, I don't know how true it is, but that SNK went bankrupt making that game.
Apparently, it was like the last stand for the company or something like that.
Yeah. So I think it puts like a sour taste in a lot of SNK heads, like
like in the lore,
stuff like that. But the game is literally one of the most beautiful games. Music's great. Their KOF people have their complaints. That's why some of them don't play it. Like, HD's too easy. Like short, you're dead. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, the roster is great. The flow of the game's perfect flow too, and the combos look really flashy too. You feel good hitting people.
You do. So, you really do.
So that's underrated.
You see, you got HD. It's like I just want to do this
right?
combo. I just want to do this combo so bad.
And then you're like, I'm good. And then max cancel, and then your whole life is done. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's easier than 2002. So
I think it's easier.
Really?
Hell yeah, it's easier than 2002.
I would say
actually,
HD mode is easier because of the auto dash. Because of the auto dash.
No, you're right. My bad.
I mean, it's still hard, but I mean, short def. I'll take that over short. Hope I hit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, short confirms and KOF 2002. They're hard as.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, on that note, then, 02 Unlimited.
I think that game is actually overrated.
Ooh,
really?
I think a lot of people really like KOF 2002 more than I even probably knew, because I didn't really play 2002. I probably played like 98, 99 more.
Yeah, me too.
But the way people praise 2002, I'm just like, I gotta see it for myself. And we started playing it, and I was just like, I get it, but no.
Okay.
Let's go to 13.
I mean, by comparison,
let's just play 13.
That's fair. I guess. I mean, but for me, it's like I would say underrated, but only because my perception of the game is like because of the same reasons, I guess, for you, but inverse. Like for me, it's like I grew up playing more 98, and like that time I was playing like Street Fighter Alpha 2. but I never knew, or never at least got a chance to try O2 until like the last 2 years, and then like when I finally got to play it for a serious time, I'm like, wow, this game's actually got a great pace, great depth, good roster. But yeah, it's underrated as hell because I mean I don't know anybody playing it besides like old heads, so I feel like definitely it's a game that flies under the radar. I think it had its shine for a moment, but I feel like when people think of King of Fighters, they don't think of it enough. So
yeah, no, I would agree. Like when you hear King of Fighters, like everyone thinks of 13.
Maybe they should.
And because because it outshines it, so I'm gonna say that it's underrated. I feel like O2 is underrated. I feel like it was the game that kind of, I feel like, at least from my perspective, going back to O2 recently, and I never played in the past before 13, but I feel like 13 took what they had and just made it better, made it prettier, and polished it up exactly. And the cast is fantastic. Music's not too bad. And with the maximum is very interesting, very difficult, but very very interesting. And going back now and playing it is super fun.
Yeah, that's pretty rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a great game.
I actually think it's rated exactly where it should be.
Okay.
Right now, I think with COVID-19, once they had the rollback implemented and O2, that's when people were like, oh shit, let's try this thing out because there's no tournaments and everything, and we can't play person to person. So right now, I think O2 was in a really good place. I don't know about now, but at the beginning of COVID-19, it was in a really good place. I think a lot of people were finding out about it. They were playing it. They're exploring it, and it is a really fun game. It's very satisfying. Again, just like 13, it's satisfying getting hits in that game. The roster is great too. I love the roster. I actually would say I like the roster more in O2 than in KOF 13, even though I like KOF 13 as a game more.
I feel like it's more bolstered. Yeah. I feel like there's probably, is there more choices in O2?
Oh
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like excluding the bosses, I feel like it's still got a pretty hefty roster. That game's pretty fun.
I think everyone appreciates it now, so I think it's rated exactly where it should be.
Yeah, it's like a sort of glass half full scenario, in the whole COVID situation. But moving on, all right, I'm interested in your answer the most with this, Jay. Dragon Ball Fighters.
This man isn't black.
I mean, can I just say it's just trash?
That's you can say it's just trash.
It's only it's overrated only due to the fact that it's overhyped. It's Dragon Ball Z. It's the IP, right?
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. The game is fun, but no, it is definitely not one of those games I feel has super depth to it. People will fight me on that, but I think the game is very overrated. Too many people like it just because they see Goku.
Yeah.
So
UI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Goku. UI.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I don't think the game is underrated. I think it's overplayed. I think people kind of just follow the IP now.
Okay. I'm tempted to say overrated as well, but not for like the vitriol you have. I mean, I think that the game is fun to watch. I don't play, but I think that there are other team-based hyper fighters that I enjoy watching just as much, if not more. Marvel too, but it's still, I think, a good game. There's nothing to take away from that. I just think that maybe it's run its course, so to speak. And yeah, you're right. There is a perception that Dragon Ball kind of carries this sort of carries the popularity of the game a little bit, but. It's potato to potato. What people think. So
yeah. I think I would agree with you guys. I think it is overrated. Like it's a Dragon Ball game. People play because it's Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball's take with Marvel kind of feel.
Yeah.
Tag based versus game. I think the game is really fun. I think it got its popularity, as we said, because it's Dragon Ball, not because of what the game brings to the table. And like Jay said, it is very rinse and repeat style game. It gives you, but at the same time, it gives those Marvel head guys like that Marvel feel because combos last like literally real time, like 15 seconds. And at the same time, when block strings last the same amount of time, you stop playing the play. But I think the game's good. It's just not my shtick. So.
Okay.
I'd probably say it's overrated. Again, I barely play it at all. I watch it, and it's fun. When you watch it, the game evolve and level up. It's really cool seeing these block strings last forever. You're like, oh man, I don't want to be trapped in that. This shit is so sick. But then after it keeps going on and on and on, and matches take forever too. Like high-end matches, unless it's a body bag match, it takes forever. Like tournaments last forever. And it gets tiring watching these tournaments, honestly. So, yeah, that's where I stand on Dragon Ball Fighters.
All right. Tekken 5.
Groovy.
I think it's right where it should be.
Okay.
I really
Balanced.
do. I feel like I got to play a lot of it when I was younger, and it didn't really like make me go like, oh my god, wow, I gotta always play this game. But now I'm like, I kind of would like to always play Tekken 5 because there's a lot more difficulty than Tekken 7 and many other games. But I think it's like right in the middle because, yeah, there are probably complaints.
There's hella broken in that game.
But that's the fun part. I think that's what makes it really fun. But I think it's also because most people who played it, they weren't playing it super serious when, everybody's younger.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my experience. I don't know how it is for the older heads, and I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, that game. But no, I think it's right in the middle where it should be. It just has a nice like feel to it. It's fast. It's not too slow.
Yeah. No, I could say that. Yeah, I'll probably say. I'll go with you. I'll ride with you. I was gonna say underrated, but I'll go properly rated as well. I think that game had its shine. I definitely had a great time playing that in arcades. It's probably where I played most of my 5 at arcades. Like at what was it, Timeout Heroes?
Yeah, Timeout.
Yeah, Timeout. They had it where you could plug in your PlayStation controller into it too. Like that's the thing that was just neat as hell.
Yeah.
But no, Tekken 5 is a great game. It has a lot of depth. In general, I feel like the tournaments for that game definitely had like enough popularity, and I feel like the game is remembered well. So I mean, I don't think that it's over or under per se. I think it's proper.
Yeah. So for me, because I was a big Tekken 5 guy when I came out, like that was like my number 2/number 3 fighting game when I started playing fighting games.
What was number 1?
Number 1 was Third Strike.
Of course. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
for me, I'm gonna say that game's underrated. I think at the time it was where it should be, but I feel like when it went down and Tekken 6, Tag, and 7 came out, people kind of forget about Tekken 5 a little bit these days. I feel like it's like sometimes the old games are mentioned, here and there, but Tekken 5 I feel like isn't mentioned. And Tekken 5 and VR, and like you said with the arcades, at least in America, it was nice for us to be able to bring our PS2 controllers to the arcade, like and plug in and play. It was great. Yeah. So I thought. It was a fantastic game. I think, yes, there's some cheap shit, but there's cheap shit in every game.
That's really cheap shit at 5. Really cheap shit.
Just don't pick Steve and you'll be alright,
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Nina, Brian Nina was pretty
details. But the point is, I think Tekken 5 is a fantastic game, and I love that game. And it goes to show you, like, when, like, my execution was pretty good in that game, and, like, my execution's pretty solid in 7. Going back, my execution ain't there anymore. Okay. Tekken 5, the execution's much higher than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Not even talk about throw breaks.
Yeah.
Alex.
I think 5.0 is underrated. I don't know shit about 5.1.
But
Dark Resurrection is overrated.
All you need to know about 5.1 is it took out the Infinite. That's all you need to know.
Well, okay, that's you're right.
Yeah.
But I think Dark Resurrection is overrated. They added Dragunov and Lily. Guess that's cool. But for me, it's like they took away some of the fun dumb shit in 5.0. Like Brian's wall shit, like that is stupid. And then like Nina's up forward 1 is apparently the Oki move of gods.
Let's not even talk about tech traps, dude.
Yeah, tech traps. Yeah. So 5.0 also was like really beautiful too. I love the stages. I didn't play 4, but Poolside, Moonlit Wilderness,
some great music.
Soundtrack is fantastic
all
too.
the time.
Yeah.
So that was like at that level, and it was right before like the PS3 era. So that's where like the Street Fighter 4. That's when the resurgence. So 5 I think was 5.0, very underrated, great game. Probably one of my favorite Tekkens behind Tekken 3. Just Tekken 3 it started all for me.
Yeah, that was the first one for a lot of people. But yeah. All right. Dead or Alive 6.
He's so sexy.
That's the most recent one, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Is that 7, right?
No,
I
it's
have
like,
no idea.
Okay. No. There's just like, what's it called? Final round or final bout or something like that.
Yeah, something.
But I think that's still second. I say that's still DOA 6. So.
Yeah.
I actually find it to be very underrated. I've played a lot of Dead or Alive, and progressively it's gotten more flack and has not been probably what everybody wants because they want more characters, they get less characters, and they get more of the rehashed out same characters. One thing I do like about it is that it's continuously progressed its fighting system. It's become more of a beautiful game, more enjoyable to watch, but there's not as many people really diving into it, and it's because not everybody wants titties.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the only beautiful thing you're watching in that
Yeah,
game. I mean, for me, that game is overrated as f***. That game is Unga Bunga RPS on crack. It is
That's because you came from Virtual Fighter.
It is watered down Virtual Fighter, and it is offensive to look at. Not because I'm afraid of teddies, but because I'm afraid of dumb shit.
If Virtual Fighter is a Snickers, then Dead or Alive is like Three Musketeers.
Yeah, exactly. It's what you don't want. It is the giant brand of Coke. It's just whatever. It's the crap version of what you actually want. It's what you order from Wish.com and what you expect and what you get.
Oh, God.
So, but yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
So, okay, I can tell. Okay. For me, I guess I'd say it's probably rated. Like, I feel like, yeah, I'll call that in the middle. Okay, because I feel like, you know, it has, you know, the stigma behind DOA, you know, let's just play, why play when we can just look at titties, you know? And like, you know, I've tried playing it a little.
Let's play volleyball.
Yeah, I tried playing it a little, yeah, true. I tried playing it a little bit, and like, I understand it, I get it, it's, you know, it's kind of cool. I don't like the whole idea where it forces the RPS. I don't mind it being RPS. There's mix-ups in every fighting game, you know. But like the fact that like you're comboing me, but I can still, if I want, I can still do a hold while I'm getting hit, as long as I'm not off the ground. I always felt like that was kind of weird to me. Like why introduce this meta while I'm getting hit? This situation is like really weird to me. So for me, I didn't like. Yeah, why would they? So for me, I didn't like that. But I digress. I think it's pretty. I think the stigma behind it is where it should be.
Okay.
I'm exactly with Laura. I think it's rated exactly where it is. I think people know if they want to play Tekken, if they want to play Virtual Fighter, or if they want to dumb it down and play Dead or Alive.
Exactly.
It's stupid. Again, there's certain fighting game mechanics I can't get behind. I can't get behind a block button. I just can't. I just can't get behind it. I can't get behind I'm getting hit 3 hits. Oh, he could mash a counter. Granted, you could bait it, you could do stuff, you could like hit and hit. You get a higher reward, right? But at the same time, I think that is so stupid. Once you're getting hit and the number starts counting, that number should keep going unless there's like Black Beach. Black Beach. The biggest thing about Dead or Alive I can't get over is I can't believe they made 6 fighting games based off the volleyball game.
Like
the volleyball game came first, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that was the progenitor. Yeah, that's what.
So I can't believe we made a fighting game spin-off of that.
Exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Jeez.
All right, moving on. Guilty Gear Accent Core plus R.
Okay, I was waiting to see if you said plus R.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird. Cause I'm a Guilty Gear fan. And I'm trying not to be biased, but I gotta say, I find it to be right in the middle. I really do find it to be right in the middle. The reason why I have to say that is it's kind of like alluding, like, you know, going back to what Alex said is, you know, during this COVID time, it has definitely progressively gotten way, way bigger than it's ever been. And I think the game was always a solid game. I think it was always fun to play. It's something I grew up on. So I find myself saying it was just the right touch. It was like finding the right coffee or finding the right tea for that day, but it just kept going. Just kept going. It's like, oh, I gotta keep drinking more.
Interesting.
But it was never to the point where I was like, oh, I'm sick of this shit. So I really, really, everything about Guilty Gear, I don't even want to go through the list of it. I'm just gonna tell you everything about Guilty Gear. I love it.
There you go.
Okay.
So it's right in the middle.
Well, I would say underrated for me personally. In the same vein as you, but you know, with more praise, because I feel like not a lot of people. Well, I feel like anime in general is kind of like a weird niche in the fighting game, you know, spectrum, where it never really gets the participation that other games get for whatever reason, whether it's the stigma around the character design or the design of the physical game itself. But Accent Core Plus R is really fun, and I mean, I was introduced to Accent Core, was my first Guilty Gear. And Plus R obviously just an evolution of that, but playing Accent Core and then playing Xrd afterwards, and then now, you know, in current day, getting the beta test Strive, and then finally doubling back all the way to Accent Core Plus R, you really get to appreciate how that game is built and like how the flow and, you know, just how much more aggressive and how fast it is. And I feel like I mean, we're definitely getting away from that these days for certain, especially with the current iteration of Strive.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So I mean, that's just to see where the perception of Guilty Gear and anime is going. I feel like that game is going to be it is underrated for the value that game is, because it's a fantastic experience.
Yeah. So the more we talk about this stuff, the more you make me feel like an old head. I'm just letting you know.
We are old heads.
Yes. You make me feel like an old head.
You're part in the scene when that was like a big game.
So like, sidebar. For me, my first Guilty Gear was XX.
Yeah.
So you saying Accent Core Plus R was your first is surprising.
Mine was
really? Holy crap, that was your first?
But anyway, I would say as well it's underrated. I think Plus R has a lot. I think the cast is pretty great in that game. The music for all of Guilty Gear is obviously fantastic. And there's a lot of depth in that game, and I feel like that depth kind of gets lost in a lot of the newer ones. I'm not even just saying Strive, even before that. I feel like it's lost a little bit. I like the versatility in the cast, and I think that's the first one where you could use meter outside of supers. And RCs, of course. They have like the EX moves. I can't remember call off right at this moment. But I thought that that implementation was fantastic, and I think it's great. It added more versatility to a game that it had a lot already. So, and just everything about the game I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And with the rollback and all that.
Oh, that's only helping it.
Yeah.
Alex?
I think it's rated where it should be. It's just that the jump-in point is so hard for a lot of like newer cats and players to get into. The same way that O2 had its time to shine with like rollback after the COVID situation. I think Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R had like the same type of treatment that O2 and like Spotlight that O2 had. Music's great. Cast is amazing. I love the cast in Accent Core Plus R, and it's satisfying hitting people in that game because you know how hard the combos are. I mean, it's just, I don't know what much to say about it. It's there's like people who like spend forever just to learn how to false Roman cancel like Eddie's drill. Like you know what I mean? False Roman cancel is so hard in that game.
Learning bike in that game, man.
Right?
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, you need blue Roman cancels for certain characters. Yeah. And it's so hard to achieve it. So
I'm a Disney player. I don't really know what that's like.
Well, moving on. All right. Skullgirls.
Everybody warmed up?
I find it to be very underrated. It is probably one of the only games I talk about more than anything. I probably like jerk it off probably hard enough more than anybody could ever ask, and they'd probably say it's overrated because of that. But I think it's a very underrated game because a lot of people shy away from the style of art that's driven behind the game, and I think that's the most beautiful part because they use a lot of comic book stuff, a lot of video game other stuff. So it's kind of sad to see how well a game has been developed, from the moveset to the character design to the music to the artwork itself in the game from the stages. But I think the most beautiful part is just the concept of a versus game that allows you to pick multiple characters or less characters in your team, which that's like playing CBS2 to me. That's ratio to the max. So I love that aspect, and I feel like that's where people kind of get a little scared, especially with the whole system itself being very difficult to understand. I think that's where it starts becoming underrated because most people don't want to jump into something that, one, you have to use 3 different characters. Now you got to learn an even more complicated system. It's one of those games that's just, it falls off slowly, and now it's slowly making a resurgence.
Yeah.
Still not that big.
I think it's underrated too. Not because it's definitely a great game from a design aspect. I think it just mostly is it like a physical sense of being underrated. I don't think a lot of people know about Skullgirls. Even though it had a nice little showing in the FGC when it just came out, like it started to get overshadowed by all the other team-based games that are, Cross Tag, Dragon Ball, etc., that keep coming out. It's just kind of fall to the wayside, and I do like that aspect that you mentioned, the ratio system, because for me, when I was learning that game, I'm not traditionally like a team-based fighter player, so to speak, so like learning just to play with, just to start with Valentine and then to slowly implement other characters into my team kind of helped me with that learning curve, so to speak, even though you kind of realize quickly that you'll be outnumbered. And I don't know a lot of people who can play with a single player or a single character and succeed, but in general, I feel like the game could use a little more shine.
So I've never played Skullgirls, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, I feel like it's underrated. I feel like there's a lot of depth to that game, and I think the music's pretty fun, and like Jay was saying, the characters are very interesting in that game. And in that game, you can like really customize your assists.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the ways you can.
So I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
An extra I think to that, and a ratio system in a versus game is kind of interesting. So I think they really kind of went into everything when they made that game. I think that's great, but it definitely hasn't really, from my perspective, hasn't gotten crazy spotlight that I think it might deserve.
Yeah.
I think it's quite underrated. There was a phase where I was playing a lot of Skullgirls from Discord, off tangent, but Discord where I have a lot of StarCraft heads, and of all the fighting games I decided to jump into, it was Skullgirls, and there's a unique feel to it. Again, it's like an American-made company. You would think that with a game like that, it wouldn't be like popular in like the mainstream, but for some reason, it captivates a certain like crowd into the game. there's the combo system. I think is probably one of the coolest combo systems where the repetition, they immediately get a free burst out, and it's like really hard to like bait out. So the game, like the combo system, is a lot of resets, and I think that's a really cool way to have players kind of be creative with the way they play, because they need to kind of reset, or else if they keep doing like the same loop, then the combo not only scales but also like it forces you out kind of thing. So I think the combo system, again, the customization of like the assist, it leads a lot of creativity for a lot of players to be very creative with their playstyle and their combos. Most combos don't look the same. Most resets look very different. I think the game is just very unique and very underrated.
That's what's up. Good answer. Good answer. All right. Oh, almost. Oh, now I remembered it. Injustice 2.
I'll do it again.
Oh boy. I'm gonna have to say it's overrated.
Try.
I'm actually, that's the game I really started getting really like the flow for playing Injustice. I think it's overrated just because honestly the system kind of took a nosedive. And as much as people really kind of like beefed it up like it was gonna be the best thing ever, everybody kind of just like still supports it like it's the best version of Injustice. And as much as I like the cast, which I think that's the best part about it, is the cast.
Yeah. Depending on who
The
you ask.
gameplay kind of was still a little lackluster. It felt like nothing really jumped forward past Injustice 1, and I really felt like Injustice 1 was the staple.
Yeah.
It was the one thing that said, holy shit, this is right where we need to see all Injustice games, all DC games. And I just feel like they tried to do something with Injustice 2, and it just got lost in translation. But people still support it, and I don't understand why. Like, I just don't. I mean, I like Supergirl. I like Supergirl. But it's not Injustice 1.
No, I got you. I'm right with you. I'm going to call that game overrated too, because besides, I mean, I'm not the hugest NRS fan, so to speak. I mean, I still like playing them. They're fun. I just don't find them to have the depth I think that other fighters have. But specifically Injustice 2, I feel like, the cast, I mean, they took out my boy Nightwing. I can't even, do that anymore. I got to play with Damian. But the cast is a little awkward. But mostly what you were saying is, like, I don't feel like it evolved a whole lot. Not that I feel like a fighter needs to, like, change the whole system. Like, I don't feel like you have to do something as radical as, like, what Strive is doing, so to speak, every time, like, you change the game from its next iteration. But in general, I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of evolution to the game, which you like to see from iteration to iteration. And in general, I don't feel like it has, the depth, so to speak, that I would find in other fighters. And it doesn't have longevity from popularity standpoint, so I'm surprised that it has what it has, but in general, I think there's better things in the market to enjoy.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. I do think it's overrated. And, from my memory, like, I'm having trouble remembering the unique things about Injustice 2.
Exactly.
I remember
Because there
Injustice 1 pretty well, but Injustice 2, like, besides, like, cast members, I'm like, I don't even remember that game, man.
It was like
all I know is I played different character.
Yeah.
That's all I know about that game.
We had to.
Yeah.
Took out my girl.
I mean, Bennett didn't do that to me,
Well,
but, but anyway, it's just not really memorable to me. Like, I just played that game cheap as hell. That's all I did.
What was cheap in that game that you used?
I used Cheetah.
Oh,
So-
Cheetah.
Yeah,
Oh,
why
I
did
thought
you
you said
stay
cheap as hell.
Why did you
Okay.
stay with Flash?
Because Flash gets bodied by a lot more matchups now than he used to. It's harder,
Yeah.
in my opinion, in this one, it was harder for him to get in than in the previous one. Or I should say, other zoning was buffed. It felt like zoning was buffed.
No, it was.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
though
yeah,
it was
yeah.
buffed as
Oh, I
hell in the
remember.
first
Yeah, I
one.
remember the first week of Injustice 2. Wasn't everyone using Deadshot or?
Probably.
Everyone
They were
uses
using
others.
Deadshot,
Okay,
and then
yeah.
it turned into Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
It was just
There was
continuously,
a
and then
lot of-
Aquaman
and-
was a new
So
Superman.
I'll still play my same type of thing. It's just that I would, I would just command for your entire life bar. But that being said, there's really nothing else to say actually.
There you go.
Well, does the game have a block life?
No.
No.
It does not.
It does not. Okay.
It is back.
He's like, oh, it's
Then
balanced.
I'll recluse myself because I never watched any Injustice 2, never played any Injustice 2.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
But I will say,
Abstain.
the storyline is
Yeah,
great. I
yeah.
think the
The storyline
storyline
of
is
them are good.
amazing. So
Yeah.
storyline is, and I think a lot of people know that. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
the
yeah.
storyline's
They
great.
also have really good storylines.
They're great.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, right.
They really do.
Oh, I should say they're very entertaining. They're not like deep or anything, but I mean they put way more production value than anyone else in the fighting game.
Yeah.
Sphere is willing to invest.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I got
Goro, marketable.
Super underrated. Super underrated.
Yeah.
There's so much to the system. It's always a game I can go back to, and I feel like more people should know about it don't know about it, especially if they play just any type of fighting game that's from CBS2 to Third Strike to Capcom games to SNK games. If you're not paying attention to this game, this is like... It just doesn't make sense to me why this game never got a proper re-release, why it never got part 2. This is just an underrated game that just got put in... It got put on hold. It got put on the back burner. It keeps getting put on the back burner.
Yeah, I didn't even know that game existed. It's definitely underrated for me because I didn't know that game existed until like maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And then all of a sudden it just popped up in my radar. I'm like, oh wow, there's another iteration of like from SNK that this is sort of semi-different King of Fighters style with some of the cast and evolutions of those characters. And I'm like, it was really fun to learn it with you and to kind of put some time into it. And in general, I like Rock. I like a lot of the characters in that game. I think that it's got a unique pace. It's kind of like very forceful. It's like a lot of damage, but like it doesn't feel bad about it. So I really enjoy that game a lot, and it definitely doesn't get enough shine.
Yeah, it's definitely underrated as hell. When I went back and played that game, like I didn't realize how much depth there was into that game. I didn't realize how many cancels, how many like Karas, how many like it has everything. And that's fantastic. Sidebar story real quick. So with Garou, so me and obviously you guys know Kyle were played that. Now Kyle played way more than I did, and he's way better than me in that game. But when I at least first saw that game, we went we went there one time. You guys might know his name is Robert Hubbs. You guys know
I know Hubbs.
Big FC, we went to his place, and I don't know if it was him or one of his friends, had like one port of the arcade version of that game in his house because it wasn't which was really sick that they like brought that whole thing out there and to play, which is really cool. I'm sure Kyle could tell you more than I could. But it was a very interesting way to see that, and that game is a fantastic game. I can't emphasize that enough.
I think it's quite underrated. Again, I gotta thank Dan Jackman actually for that game. He said it was like SNK's Third Strike, and I was like, oh, I love Third Strike. How dare you say that? You really think about it, the parallels are there. Entirely new cast. Like one character kind of like returning, aka Terry, Ryu for like the Third Strike cast kind of thing. They added more later in Third Strike, and Terry's like the only one, but still. And the cast is really cool. Like I can't tell you how many people say their favorite SNK waifu is B. Jeanette. And for a while, I had no idea where B. Jeanette even came from until I started playing Garou. The top system is something very unique.
It's very good.
Like you can put it on anything. Like you know about ratios. Like in SNK, CVS2, you put in a character, but you don't put it in midway through the match that can randomly activate. The cool, as you said, the cancel system is really hard. I remember playing in casuals against people who know what they're doing, and they pick like Terry, and I'm just in block stun at that time. And that system, it forces you to learn how to. I guess I would just call it guard cancel, like guard special move cancel. You need to learn that, and that's a high level thing to do. So the game has the depth in there, and again, great cast, and it's a really fun game.
Yeah,
Awesome. Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Underrated as hell. It's just underrated just due to the fact that, one, it just didn't do well in America, period.
Yeah, not at all.
It actually has a really cool system. The Barquet, I think that's what it's called.
Baroque or something like that.
Whatever it is.
It's really cool. It's interesting. It's a little bit different than most versus games where you can kind of tag in. It's kind of like how Marvel had the whole whatever the hell it's called, TAC. There we go. TAC system. But it was a little bit more intriguing because you couldn't really break out of it. It was kind of like, I just need to get my character out. But the game also had really strong neutral. The design, I think, the biggest thing is it's just on the wrong console. It just should have.
It
should have never been.
Yeah.
So
how many of y'all got a stick for the Wii?
Let me tell
I almost did.
Let me tell you, I know that Dan did purchase one for a friend of ours.
Oh, okay.
So I've seen the stick, and I'm pretty sure that there might be one floating around this house, right?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I know Dan's had it here before, a few different sticks.
That's one more than I expected.
But yeah, overall, I just find the game underrated, and I always see small communities playing it, and they're always like, "Come on, guys, you gotta come play this game." We have like 25 people signed up, and somehow they get to 64, but most people don't know what the hell they're doing. So
yeah, I've seen that game kill at conventions.
like anime conventions and whatnot.
I actually played a lot.
Yeah, but nah, the game's overrated. I mean, excuse me, underrated. Refuse that, but yeah, underrated because I mean nobody even knows that game exists. Even in the FGC, that's like sort of like a shadow of a game. I feel like that most people don't know. Now I've played it and I definitely enjoy it, and I mean I'm not like adept or anything like that, but I've definitely enjoyed the system of it. It's definitely a pretty unique team fighter for certain. But in general, yeah, it's no way I could say it's overrated.
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with you guys. It's underrated. I haven't played that game too much. I played it a tiny bit when it first came out. I don't remember like anything about that game, but I do remember that they had the solo mask.
The solo mask. They had two solo mask ones.
Yeah, which no one ever picked because I think they always got
they're actually really bad.
Yeah,
they're not good.
Yeah,
there's ways to exploit them really badly.
Yeah, so I mean, I just thought that was an interesting design, and I think a lot of the characters are pretty cool. I mean, I don't really know that kind of stuff.
I don't know, like June the eagle or something like that.
Oh, dude, busted. Busted.
I just don't know where they're from.
Yeah. I only know like Karass and like a few of the weird types.
Yeah. Karass is the double sword dude, right?
He's like the wolf face metal, like full armor. Yeah, I think he has two
swords. Okay, he's a really cool looking character.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the game.
I mean, you know Cashin, right?
The like the anime?
Yeah.
I think so.
He's in it.
Yeah,
so,
I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
I mean, I'll tell you guys this. All you need to know is I actually personally have a Capcom vs. Tatsunoko card because I play Roll. So Roll's actually good in this game. She's not trash.
There you go.
She throws a bucket of water, but it's like the Mega Man Legends one.
So, okay, well,
it's really weird. She's like small. It's really weird.
All right.
This is another one I gotta recruit myself. I watched one tournament match where Martin was playing Zero, and that was like the beginning of what Zero, like the preview of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Zero was. And I was like, yo, this looks cool at the beginning, but then once it got to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I was like, what the fuck? So
you thought.
Yeah, right. But they are cool characters. I just don't know them. Like Karasu was cool. I thought Alex in Tag game was like really cool.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that game.
Yeah, but I can't. I don't have an opinion. I never even touched the game before, so.
Gotcha. All good. All right. Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Street Fighter Alpha 2.
I think it's so overrated. I think it's so overrated. Everybody praises the game, and I understand why, but I just can't get down with not being able to dash in my Street Fighter games.
God! Wow,
it's so weird.
Stupid reason.
No, it's so weird, man. I mean, going back, I was like, is this how the game played? But realistically, no, I think it's definitely overrated. I think a lot of people actually play the game and they praise the game as one of the best Street Fighter games that came out next to like Turbo. They really love this game. I personally don't see the love in it that much because I liked Alpha 3 and I played Alpha 3 a lot more.
Yeah.
But Alpha 2, I can understand why they would like it that much, but for me, it's not good.
Nah? Alright.
I think it's overrated, though.
I think it's underrated. Well, I think it's properly rated. Balance. I think people know what they're getting when they're playing Alpha 2 at this point. I mean, God knows how many years it's been since that game premiered. And in general, I feel like it's earned the perception because it's the game that people still play as opposed to like playing Alpha 3 or Alpha 1. So I definitely enjoy that game. It's the one I play. It's like one of the most played Street Fighters of my childhood. Definitely not one I got really good at, but I mean one that I've played a lot as a scrub. But in general, I think that the game is it's right where it needs to be.
I think I'd say the game's underrated. I think there's a lot going on in the game, a lot more than I realized, especially when I was young. Like I think, if I remember correctly, Alpha 2 was the first PlayStation game I ever played. Like my stepbrother, we went to Blockbuster, we rented a PlayStation and Alpha 2, we played it, and he wrecked the shit out of us obviously because I didn't know what I was doing with the PlayStation controller. But anyway, I think the game's great. I think there's a lot of creativity, custom combos and all that. I think it's cool. I think the cast is pretty diverse for such an old game. Diverse enough to where the characters play so differently.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Shadow brothers of the Alpha series, Alpha 1 and Alpha 3, no one cares about. Like I feel like Alpha 1 is like Turbo Part 2, because there's nothing going on. Yeah. But Alpha 2 is fantastic. I like that.
I think it's quite underrated. I never knew anything about Alpha until we watched like 2 weeks ago that Justin Wong hosted online Alpha 2.
Yeah.
And that honestly, that opened up my eyes. I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
At first I thought there was a lot of skill, like they're waiting for their time to like activate a custom combo. But then I realized once we start playing, this kind of dope. Honestly, you just activate whenever. Activate it when you're in the block screen. Activate it when you jump in. Activate it when they jump in. It don't matter, and then they eat fat ass damage. Like there's not honestly. I thought combos like CBS 2 custom combos, they're kind of hard to do. This shit dumb. All I do, I'm playing Charlie, mash flash kick, holy shit. This dude lost 75% of his life right there. And also, I think the dumbest thing. I still think this game's overrated. I think it's great, but there's some dumb stuff. Like the dumbest thing I think is how much damage alpha counters do.
Oh yeah, they
like,
do
I
a lot
think that
of
is the
damage.
stupidest thing.
It is
I've ever
stupid,
seen,
but
yeah.
at the same because it's so scary, that's what makes it interesting. It makes you scared to
Yeah,
attack.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I
if
understand.
they have a life advantage, you're
Yeah,
scared to
I
attack.
understand
It's
like
kinda
that
interesting.
that side argument, but
Yeah.
I think it's kind of crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mezza. ST.
You're just saying.
You know why are
You're
we
saying-
doing this without Kyle, bro?
Kyle!
You're doing all these old games.
I will tag Kyle in the Facebook post. He'll see. I'll put his face on the screen right now. This is a tribute to Kyle. You know, but no.
You're talking about Super Turbo.
Yeah, I am talking about Super Turbo.
Alright. I f***ing hate this game. Like, you don't understand. I hate this game with a
We had to
passion.
start somewhere, man.
I fought with Kyle before. I don't like this game. I played other people. I don't like this game.
Man,
I
Kyle
don't like
was
when I was growing up.
He's the Phantom Menace of this episode.
Because that's what he plays. He plays the last games. But no, realistically, I normally would see it as like a balanced game, like it's right in the middle. But I have to say, I think this game is one of the most overrated games. I really think it had another iteration of the game remade.
Oh yeah.
It's
HDR was
which is trash. Don't get me wrong. I respect that you guys feel that way, but at the same time, your game's fucking overrated. I'm sorry, but yeah, too many people always talk about it. It is one of the original games that kind of paved way for what we play now. But I'm sorry, I don't want to hear you tell me, "Yo, I'll see you in Super Turbo." I don't want to see you in that. Go somewhere else with that. It is an overrated game,
All right.
and the damage is high as for no reason.
Let me tell you.
Oh god, here we go.
Jeremiah,
Don't you say underrated.
I agree with you. That game is fucking trash. That game sucks. It's overrated as
I will play it if it's in the arcade and it's the only thing
No, I
there.
hate playing ST.
Like even when we were at JWL, I'm like,
yeah.
get another game.
I don't think that's ST though. That was just Street Fighter 2.
It still feels like it. It looks like it feels like it.
That's just Street Fighter 2.
That's a Street Fighter 2
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
Walker, yeah. But no, ST is Unga Bunga. No, there's no real depth to that game. That is just like there's no skill in ST at all, in my opinion.
Oh my
in
God.
my
This
opinion.
is the one. This is the one.
No, really, that game sucks ass. Go ahead.
Wow. He's on blast right now. You know, I'm gonna say rated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say rated. I know.
Voice of reason.
I'm gonna say rated. Look, guys, we had to start somewhere.
Okay.
All right?
Not there.
Well, tough shit. You know, it paved the way for where we've come now. You know, you have to understand that. And yes, there's cheap shit. There's cheap shit in all old school
Yeah.
games. Dude, I love TMNT. We're gonna get into that.
Oh yeah.
But
That game's great.
that game plays a lot like ST.
Yeah. But the
But I
turtles.
enjoyed that game. Yeah,
But that game was cool. That's the time.
Yeah.
You know,
turtles.
you know.
Yeah.
ST, you have to be a certain type of crazy to play that game. I think.
You gotta be a boomer.
Okay,
Alright.
let's go with that. But I think it's a very important in game we have to respect from where it came from, where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't agree. That's fine.
I mean, that's why I'll still play it if I'm forced to. But you know,
I think it's on the floor. I think it's rated. I think the people who want to play it will play it. The
Okay.
people who bitch about it will bitch about it. You know what I mean? And again, I think it's cool. People say, "Oh, it needs balance. It needs balance." If you
I've
want
never
a
heard
fully balanced game, then just play footsies. There needs to be imbalance. There needs to be variance.
true.
There needs to be variance to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it's cool that like a character like Cammy gets destroyed by Honda,
Yeah.
who gets destroyed by like Sagat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's cool, like the matchup dynamic, and the game is
Yeah, the
like,
counterpick wars in that game are serious.
yeah, it's serious,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting to watch. And again, I think the coolest thing is that the game was, quote unquote, evolving. I keep talking about the damned IT Hawk stuff.
Yeah.
I think
the
that
brand.
is literally the single-handedly one of the coolest fighting game techniques ever.
That is.
So-
To see that game evolve after so long, that was amazing to see. Like, it was-
Sidebar: one of the weirdest things about the game is the random stuns. I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah.
it's not random.
I
Dumb.
will say,
It's,
I
Geef literally jumped in twice. You get hit, you're stunned.
yeah, but Geef, we play a character where Geef can't even get in. Like,
Yeah,
come on
yeah.
now.
He has green.
I will say I respect the ST guys, and only old heads do this. Is when they get hit by like the the throw where you gotta mash.
Yeah.
Only the old heads I see this, and I respect them for this. They break after one hit.
Yeah, which makes
that's
sense.
the only old heads I ever see do that.
Wow.
That's true. That's true. All right. The newest Samurai Showdown.
It's not even on the list. It's trash.
Oh, Mega Trash.
Oh yeah. You didn't see me play it at Evo, right?
That's true. You didn't participate when we went to Evo.
I don't even participate in the house.
That was true. Well, that's not true. We did.
I did, but I didn't enjoy it.
Okay. So
I think there's nothing about that. Like, look, I'm not a Samurai Showdown fan. I'm a Last Blade fan. So it has differences.
Okay.
Drastic differences. But Samurai Showdown, I did play when I was a kid. I found nothing interesting about it. I like some of the characters, but to me, that game is f***ing garbage. And I think that it doesn't even make my list or my radar for one of those games that's even rated, underrated, or overrated. I think it's just super trash.
That's fair. With less vitriol, I'll definitely say overrated for sure. I only played it at Evo for the clout, and also and also because no one knew what the hell. Dude, I made it 3. I won 3 of my first fights at Evo. I was just like, this game, no one knows what they're doing. But in essence, overall, I knew that the game, the depth, I know we say that a lot, the depth of the game, but the game is it's all or nothing with the damage. It's just mega footsies with that game. You're just kind of waiting to everyone's just kind of just one slice, and that's all you really need in that game. One heavy slash counter hit, and you take 80% of their life. And so it's I don't know if I can get behind that, this sort of. I don't feel like I'm playing a game so much as I'm waiting to see who hits first. It almost feels like I'm playing dive kick at this point, where it's all or nothing with my movement and the commitment, so to speak.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm I'm surprised that game even got off the ground as well. I mean, there's some tactics that's going on with Sam Show, but not that to the point that I would appreciate it.
Yeah, they're still coming out with characters and stuff for that game.
Yeah, I appreciate the support they're giving it.
For me, I think I would also agree it's kind of overrated for me. I played it a little bit in the beginning. I didn't do any tournaments for that game, even though I body robbed every time. But I'm gonna, I agree. I think that game is a little overrated. I feel like even with all the, and it's great that they have the backing they did. I never played the old ones, so this, there was no nostalgia there for me. It was just a game where I out-footsie people, which was, I guess,
that's all the game is, really.
I guess so. Anyway.
Tuning his own horn right now.
So again, I'm gonna cite this is dumpster juice.
Yes!
Holy. It looks cool, right? At the beginning, it's ooh, I got these weapons, I got this other shit. But then these motherfuckers, it's only footsies, combos, or
It's one hit.
Combos, but
they're not
same
existing.
thing, exactly, yeah. Watching the top 8 for Evo for that, at the first few matches were oh yeah, that's pretty cool, ooh, he did the counter thing. But then it just got dumb.
Yeah, it was really boring.
It was really, really boring. The supers just, oh my god, motherfuckers would just die. It really was. I guess if they wanted a true Samurai Showdown where one slash will probably kill you, then yeah, it's great. But for watching it as a fighting game, dumpster juice.
Now, I didn't put it on the list, so I apologize. If you could summon the memory for me, what is that furry fighting game again? Not that fighting herds, but the one with the animals.
Oh, Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar. We'll do that one. Go ahead.
Which one?
I don't remember which
What was
That would be underrated. The reason I say this is because Bloody Roar 4 is the one that was probably the most underrated.
Which one's that one?
Well, Bloody Roar 4 is the one that everybody wants to see come
That
back.
doesn't help me. Does it have a name? Is it
Bloody
just
Roar 4.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the one I played on the GameCube that had a special title, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I played the one on the GameCube. You know what? We're gonna cut this whole one because no one
I
knows
don't know.
what the hell we're talking about.
I know what it is. It's just it's one of those games that's just not.
I just thought it was cool. Alice was the rabbit. I remember Leo was the lion. Yuko was the wolf, and that's all I remember.
I just think I'll say this. I think it's underrated because it just never got the love and attention that it deserved. And I think the game actually had a cool system to it. It was one of the 3D slash 2D fighters, kind of like Street Fighter EX.
Yeah.
But it had a little bit of the Tekken-ish feel. It was just different, but it wasn't accepted because I think other games were overshadowed.
The one you're talking about on GameCube is called Primal Fury.
Yeah. All right, so we'll wrap up with one more. We'll call it a day. Last one, Under Night in Birth.
Double down.
Oh, damn! I want to say underrated, but I really think the game is nice in a good place. I think enough people play it, enough people know about it, and it is a known game that people aesthetically like. They love the music that they die over it.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing is it's the most balanced. It has everything you could ask for from, tutorials that can teach you how to play the game to the system is very fun. Kind of reminds me of Melty Blood, but at the same time, I just like it's a core package that you could just throw at somebody and they'll be like, I love this game. This game's fun. I could just pick it up most of the time. But it's an overall. I think it was in a good place. It's a little close to underrated, but I think it's almost like that edging into the just right.
Gotcha. No, yeah, I think that game's underrated personally. I would have said it properly, but I think it's underrated because it's still not getting the turnout that I think it deserves, and I think that it's a really approachable anime fighter, and in general, I think that it's got great flow. I really don't know much about it. I've only spent like maybe 3 hours with Hyde, but in general, watching that game is hella fun. The speed, the tactics with that game, they're really electric to watch. In general, I think it's got a cool cast, there's cool mechanics. And yeah, I mean, as far as like, I feel like it really upholds the standard for what I imagine to be like anime fighters, that sort of medium in between like the Street Fighter sort of, we'll call it standard pace, and then like the crazy zaniness of a versus fighter. Like I've always found anime to kind of sit in between the two, so to speak, in what I would consider pacing, and I feel like Underrated Birth is still like the paragon of that right now.
Yeah, I think that game is very underrated. I haven't played, anywhere near as much as Jay has, but I've played enough. I've done, a good amount of trials for a few of the characters and stuff like that. And like you said, the trial/training mode teaches you a lot about the game. It teaches you not just combos, but setups,
like
which
real
is very
stuff
important.
that you can use.
And real stuff, things where navigating around projectiles and stuff like that. So the game teaches you very well, which is great. And it's a very unique system.
Yeah.
Which I think it really showcases that really well. And the cast, like, I haven't played too many of them, but the cast members that they put in the game, they're very different. And they play very different.
It's really cool. Design
just going from like characters like Hyde and stuff like that, go to like Chaos, which is a very off-the-wall kind of character, I think, which you wouldn't expect in that kind of a game from me. But I think that game is very technical. I think it's very cool, and I feel like if more people play it, they would like it. My only gripe about that game is I feel like arguably you block more in that game than in Dragon Ball.
Oh, for sure. The pressure in that
game.
Go
ahead, Jay. Go ahead. Let me hear it. I didn't think so.
I would actually disagree.
Okay.
The only reason why I say that is because good players will block more because they know taking the risk for something that is situational, like you can take a risk for, is not rewarding sometimes.
Okay.
It's a guess.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball, you're not guessing, you're blocking. That's it. So that's my argument. But I understand what you mean.
It's in the same realm where
Yeah.
defense is very key in that game, and sometimes you have to accept it and block for quite a
I
while.
like watching the defense in that game. It's actually interesting.
Yeah, so do I.
Plus, you can super out.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. You can versus super in that one. If there's one game where everyone's like, yo, you should play this game, but that person doesn't actually play it, it's definitely Under Night.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you gotta play Under Night, and it's like, yo, let's play with me. I was like, nah, I'm good for now. But that's a great game. You know what I mean? Everyone says let's play it, but they don't actually play it. It's a great game. I'm not sure where I would rate it. I'll just say underrated. The cast is really cool. Really unique characters. There's so much system in that game too. Where I'm like,
very
I still don't understand it. Granted, I haven't played much of it, but I don't understand like the grid, like the thing where it shifts over to other people. There's different like usage and like bursts and stuff like that. Great combo system as well. I think the game is just an amazing game, but again, I say this, it's a great game, but I don't play it myself. It's just one of those things where people just enjoy it and they respect it. It's just that some people just don't put the time in it.
You can have an appreciation from afar, like
Yeah,
as a spectator, secret last game, actual secret last game, Pokken.
Mega trash.
No, actually. Get out of here.
Says the dude who probably put the most time on this count.
I ultimately
Jay
find it probably to be the most underrated game. Considering it has everything every game has, it's just people don't like Pokemon sometimes. So, it's the truth. No, people don't like Pokemon. Like, who wants to play as a f***ing Pikachu, like, fighting something else?
A lot of people.
A lot
of people.
You'd be surprised. Where was the millions we were supposed to have for Pokken tournaments?
Nah, bro.
They didn't like the game because it's Omega trash.
So here's the thing. A lot of the game system is very fleshed out. It's very well thought out. I will say the menu is trash. The playing versus is trash. But outside of that, the underrated aspect is it has a very well thought out tutorial. It doesn't look bad at all.
No, it's okay.
It's on the wrong console.
I mean, what are you gonna do? It's like
How's it on the wrong console?
It's on the wrong console.
How's it on the wrong console?
Sorry, I don't know. Microsoft,
It's
go
a Pokemon
do
game.
something, please.
It's a Pokemon game.
So
Nintendo's best seller.
I could be like, oh, it should have been on the 3DS or some shit. I don't know, man. It just shouldn't have been on the Wii. A lot of the people
Wii
who
U,
played
I
the
think.
game, Wii and Wii U.
Yeah.
So you're saying it would have been better if they waited for the Switch?
It would have. We got it on the Switch. It
It's a
didn't do any
switchboard.
better.
Yeah, there's a switchboard for
I
that.
know.
It didn't do any better.
Yeah.
So I mean, it got better. We got more sales, but my thing is, at the end of the day, it does cater to a lot of the audience that it's supposed to, but a lot of the nostalgia that they were hoping for did not come back from the older people. They were like, "Oh, cool, it's Pokemon," but it's not Pokemon. It's kind of a fighting game, and now that changes the aspect, especially because there's a lot of RPing in it, RPSing in it. And
Oh, I was about to say.
I was gonna be like,
I was like,
RP?
my bad. I couldn't get the S out.
No.
There's a lot of RPSing in it, and a lot of people don't like that.
My first Marvel was Capcom 3 Vanilla Tournament. There was a dude, I don't know the his name, but he was playing Zero, and every time, zoo, 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 every time, he was reenacting the sounds. He was RPing
there'd be
Zero.
guys like that. They do
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
brutalize.
But no, ultimately, I just feel like the audience just didn't stick with it, and maybe that's just a Pokemon thing where you just wait for the next best Pokemon thing to come out.
How can you
So-
complain about the attention span of 8-year-olds? Come on now.
I mean, they get to.
I'll tell you what, Jay. For you, I'll lab it when it comes out for PS6.
There you go.
You heard that, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sell your soul to Sony.
Look, in concept, when I saw Pokken, I was like, this is what when I bought, I remember, not to tangent too hard, but like, when I got my N64 and I got Pokemon Stadium, I'm like, this is what I thought it was.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd never actually played like Game Boy. My first experience with Pokemon was Pokemon Stadium, and so I thought, oh, this is sick. Like Pokemon are I'm gonna control a Charizard and we're gonna like mash, punch, kick, fireball, whatever the it is. And instead, it wasn't that. And then I'm like, so this is the realization of what I imagined as a kid. So I was like, oh wow, finally. And then when I got to play it, I realized how much I fucking hate RPS games. Like it's just so dumb. Like,
I'm
it's
sorry,
just
you
so
picked
trash.
the strongest RPS character in the game at the time too.
Yeah, nah.
So
bro.
that's
So-
probably the worst for you.
So yeah, nah. It's just I can't. It's overrated to me, unfortunately, because I mean, it's not like it's hugely popular, but just even with what it has, it's still garbage. Yeah. So
Yeah, so I don't have a high opinion of that game, as I clearly stated.
You did play a lot.
I
You
did
did
play
play
a
a
lot.
lot.
I put a lot of time into that game.
You know how in-depth it is.
And that's why I hate it so much, man. I put all that time into this garbage RPS bullshit, and it's so freaking frustrating.
you had short hair back then.
I did have short hair.
Yeah, you did.
That's
I
how
had
long
really
you played it.
I had really short hair, and then I decided to that shit and grow my hair out.
Yeah, yeah.
But the game's alright.
Yeah.
But it's trash. I really dislike that game. I think if it wasn't RPS designed, I think I would have liked it more. You know.
I know.
I think they had, you know, just
They had something good there.
they had something that they could have worked with there. It was interesting to mesh arena style with 2D style. I thought that was a little weird, but it could set up some really messed up situations.
It got worse.
Really messed up. Yeah.
It got a lot worse.
So
Especially when
I still say the game's trash.
fair.
But I guess I didn't give a rating.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think I
That
gave a
wasn't
rating. Overrated.
Wow.
Never played one touch of it. I literally, when you said RPS, that was news to me. So I'll tell you right now, I guess it's rated. Like stragglers, you know, stragglers deserve to be left behind. Like there's a reason why I don't see any tournaments. Meza don't talk about it no more. Like he wants it to be ignored. So
Yeah, he
I
wants-
mean,
he
I
wants
could
us to
clearly
forget.
tell you I put $50 into the latest tournament.
I
that
haven't heard
That's good
Pokken,
of you.
the actual thing, Pokken, in at least 2 years
World-
when
Worlds
that
just
one
happened.
tournament series was around.
Online Worlds just happened.
You didn't tell me. You didn't put it on screen. Clearly, you
For
don't
a good
care.
reason.
You don't care. Yeah.
No, I care. I just didn't tell people.
Did you know about this?
No.
So exactly.
I don't play no more.
All right.
I dropped that hard body.
It's all good. It's for probably good reason. Well, that's all we got time for today, and hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. If you enjoyed it and had fun, and you want to talk about if you've agreed or disagreed with any of these opinions, hopefully this gets to Kyle specifically. But yeah, do the like, comment down below, subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, and as always, have a good day, have a good life, and we'll see you on the next one.